everyone. Welcome to the World News Network Saturday morning live stream. I'm so sorry for the delay this morning. Looks like we had a power outage for a little bit last night because I could tell my stove was flashing and stuff. And I didn't see any internet issues. And then all of a sudden I start up my computer and it's like, yeah, I can't connect to the internet. I was like, well, that's fun. That's a great way to start off a Saturday morning. So good morning, everyone. Huge news breaking last night, this time from Valentine Lowe. Always an excellent source. He is I would say like a true journalist in the sense that he really tries not to provide anybody with really his perspective. It's more of trying to lay out the facts, and he has revealed super excitingly that it was Catherine, the Princess of Wales, who insisted that Recollections May Vary was included in the final draft of the statement released after Harry and Meghan's Oprah Winfrey interview. Her reasoning, which was sound, very intelligent and sharp, which was that history will look back on this moment, and we don't want to leave a shred of doubt that what Harry and Meghan are saying is anything other than a false narrative. And so she was right to put that in there. So smart of Catherine. And hold on one second. We got a special guest, and this is Miss Pippa. She went to the groomers this week, so she wanted to show off her pretty haircut to everybody. Yeah, and she thinks I have something for her. So there she is. Isn't she pretty? Spring Breath, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. Thank you so much. And yes, good morning, everyone. I got a super exciting message. So next week, there will be no live stream. My sister is getting married next Saturday. So we've got a lot of other things going on. So I will be probably a little bit slower on videos and everything. So Allison asked here, are you excited for your sister's wedding? And I will say yes, although I'm a little stressed out because I'm still trying to get my place in order. I'm waiting for, I ordered a new desk so I can have a really nice studio set up upstairs. So for these live streams in the morning, I don't have to do it at my kitchen table. It'll be all set up at my desk. So I just go over there to my computer where my computer sits most of the time and just boot it up. Well, not boot it up, but hopefully just press a couple buttons. Bada bing, bada boom. It is right there ready to go every morning. So I am looking forward to that. Got my bookshelf all filled with royal books. I am actually already running out of room for all of my royal books because I have this pretty epic royal book collection now. So yes, very exciting to see family and friends. Just a lot of, things going on at the same time. So very crazy. And Ellen, thank you so much for the super sticker as well. I really appreciate it this morning. Again, guys, I'm so sorry I was delayed on getting on. It was just weird. I didn't notice anything being strange with the internet because I was watching a video from another channel because I actually watch a lot of YouTube anymore. So, because I enjoy what other people create because it's a fun little world out there. So good mornings to Andy. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning to Olga and Hugh. You say, can't compare a silk purse with a sow's ear. Yes. So true. I think anymore, everybody's really aware of who Meghan is. And Oki, Gigi, thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up. Thank you. And Evelyn says, Catherine won an award she didn't have to buy. Yes, she did. And again, royals should be people who are giving awards, not necessarily receiving ones. And I just, again, believe despite all of the many Harry and Meghan stans who believe that Meghan getting these awards for her podcast really means a whole heck of a lot. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think so. And so we have Kimberly as well. Happy almost Independence Day. Yes, it is going to be the 4th of July this week. So exciting. So we have Lindsay as well. And we have Lynn, Kimberly. I love that. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Yes, because there's some people who are here from like Australia, and it's very late there. And Lynn, hello from Denmark. We have Catherine, and then we have our Carmichael, Hugh, Olga, and top of the morning to you, RV Rodder, Jane. Good afternoon from Buckinghamshire, UK. Happy 4th of July weekend to all of our friends across the pond. Yes. We'll see what Harry and Meghan do. If anything, last year they went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, apparently. So But it sounds like they're getting to the point where they're very much leading separate lives. Their professional and their personal lives, I think, are diverting. So it'll be interesting to see what they do this year, if we'll see the kids at all. We saw Archie just a smidge in a couple of pictures last year. And again, I've always said I think the kids exist, but I think Harry and Meghan like playing games, and I don't think it benefits anybody, not even Harry and Meghan, to play those games. It definitely doesn't benefit their kids. So Lizzie says, do they even have an original thought for Netflix? I heard they kept pitching ideas that already been done with different details. Lizzie, yes, that is entirely what they did. No original ideas. And here's the truth. There are really, to a certain extent, almost no original ideas in the terms that the basic beats of a story we mostly know. When you look at something like Star Wars, it very much follows the hero's journey that really even started with the Epic of Gilgamesh, and which is the oldest story ever written that we have. It even predates the Bible. And then you have the stories in the Bible, which exemplify that a lot as well. And, you have the Greek mythology, Roman mythology, So very much the idea of a story and the beats of it have been mapped out. But, people can create some really, really interesting and unique concepts and ideas. Harry and Meghan are not those two people. Because every single one of their ideas is like, well, let's just switch off the gender in the lead role. Oh, well, let's just make all the characters gay in this story. And I'm like, that's not an idea. You need to have an actual original story beat. And yes, you can reference other stories because, again, there's a lot of beats from various stories that we all know throughout history. But yeah, those two people have literally no original ideas ever. It's really quite pathetic. It's unbelievably pathetic how untalented they are at this. And it's like, well, no wonder y'all are failing hard, by the way. Because yeah, you guys have no original ideas. All right. Oh, well, Robbie, thank you so much for the super sticker, $49.99. I really do appreciate it. It helps so much with this channel. It's been so exciting to be here, guys, and watch it grow so much. I so appreciate your support. And then we have Jessica Reed as well. Another super sticker. Thank you so much, Jessica. And we have GECT812 as well. Hey, Britt, glad to see that the storms have passed. Happy to see you in daylight while it's midnight here in Australia. I love your streams. Thank you very much for the info, fun, and cheeriness. Oh, I'm so glad. Yes, make sure to get some good rest before tomorrow. Yes, the storms will come back. They do, but that was a really fierce one. In the fashion video, if you haven't listened to me being startled by the thunder, I'm almost really bummed I didn't actually get it on video, because that would have been really, really funny, because it was just like, oh my gosh. I knew the storm was going on, but we had a couple huge claps of thunder, and I was just like, it startled me. But it was a fierce storm. It was like flash, 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 flash of lightning, which was kind of fun. And then we have Cindy as well. Thank you so much for the super sticker, and I really do appreciate it. And then we have MEP as well. Thank you so much for the tip. You guys are so sweet this morning. I so appreciate it. So does Miss Pippa, because she's always excited to have more bones available to chew on, because she likes her bones, and she has one ball she plays with. Sometimes she'll get a different ball, but she has this really ratty ball she's had since she was a puppy, and she loves it. And we have Jan, good afternoon from France. I hope you are staying safe in France. I was looking really forward to going there, still hoping I can. But yeah, it sounds like it's craziness out there right now. Okay, I think I must have switched on the wrong side. I have a light over here and it just went out, but I think it's because I switched it to the wrong side. You can either have the battery or it plugged in, and I think I have it. I think I switched it to the wrong side. Kitsy says, I think she should employ the wardrobe designer she had on Suits. I agree. I think Meghan Markle's fashion sense herself is pretty bad. It's not great. And I think somebody said, which was true, I don't think she's an inverted triangle shape, really, but she does have a very square rectangle shape, just very, not like Gisele Bündchen, which is very long, but just very short. And she really needs to create a waist. And she does it, I think, in the worst possible ways, because she's also just doesn't really have a waist. And so it's kind of weird, because when she tries to define one, it just makes her look bigger, I think, because she just doesn't have so she really needs to create an illusion of having a wider waist with a peplum. style, but she doesn't seem to want to take anybody's advice. So this fan says, thank you so much for the tip. Princess Catherine saves the day. Are you planning on doing a video on Valentine Low article? Seems like William is trying to change some things as far as how the palace runs. So I did actually film a video talking about, because there was a couple interesting articles about Meghan and the hollowness of Meghan in terms of her podcast and just everything about her. And then just juxtaposing that with Catherine's steely resolve, I think it's very interesting. So I did film an article about that, but I did a couple other things last night, so I haven't had a chance to edit it. So hopefully I will get it edited today. It may go up tomorrow, though. I'm thinking it all kind of depends, because again, still lots of random things to do, because everybody wants to see my house, and it's not seeable yet. I'm getting my desk, though, on Monday. I'm very excited about that, because it has a little raised section. I'll just show you guys my little office area when it's done. Fred says, what about Catherine's amazing athletic physique when she was playing tennis? Enough to shame us all back to the gym. Yes, you can see just when she's lunging and stuff, the muscle definition in her legs is insane. You can tell she works out a lot, and she's in very, very good shape. It's very much a great way to encourage her to get back to the gym, or sorry, for me to get back to the gym. And then you have Queen Letizia with her guns. That woman, she has, I don't want to say they're the arms of the man, because they're not really, but she has corded muscle in her arms. That woman is strong and she is fierce. So they both are oh man, I really need to get to the gym, which I do. It's just been, I'm further away from a gym now, so technically I probably need to order a treadmill or something, and I just don't want to do that quite yet, but I probably need to do that. All right, and so Renee asked, what is the story on Netflix as best we know? So this is what we know. So I did a video about this, and there's kind of two sides, where Netflix is playing it everything's great, everything's wonderful and amazing, we still want to work with them. And then you have all these other reports going, well, they're going to end their contract, they're not pleased, they haven't produced anything. And really at the end of the day, I think the heart of Invictus is a make it or break it for Harry and Meghan. And I think that's still true. I think both things can be true. I think they'll praise something up the wazoo, even though they don't really believe it in Hollywood. They will. They did that with The Flash recently. I watch a lot of these channels that dissect kind of what's going on in the media in terms of the movies and stuff, because I used to go to movies all the time, and now I don't, because I think most of them are quite bad. And it's interesting, because they would talk up this movie as if it was the greatest movie ever. And then people watched it and they're like, well, it's okay, better than some things, but really not the best in the world. But they did that because they needed to sell the movie. Right now, Netflix is in a position where they know Harry and Meghan are unpopular. They know they've lost their deal with Spotify. So it makes it easier for Netflix to drop them. But at the same time, they still have something in the pipeline, and that's Heart of Invictus. And because of that, they want Harry and Meghan to promote it, even though they don't really promote things the way they should, that they want this to do well, because they are paying Harry and Meghan a bunch of money that I'm sure at this point they're like, yeah, they didn't deserve nearly a tenth of what we've given them. And so they're like, we want this to do well. And if this doesn't do well, hey, you know what? We're just going to pack up our stuff, and we're going to just say, you know what? The deal is done. And that's it. Obviously, a lot of people right now, especially Harry and Meghan stans, are super excited that Suits is now on Netflix, and it was number 2 in the watch. And it's like, okay, guys, somebody was telling me too, is well, they're like, it's the number 2 show on TV. And I'm like, well, it's the number 2 show on Netflix. She's like, well, can't we agree that the streaming platform is the most watched streaming platform? I was like, well, sure, but things are so decentralized in terms of watching now that there's so many different options that really, even if you're number 2 on Netflix, that just doesn't necessarily mean a ton, especially right now. Things are slow generally within the industry. So you don't have a lot of competition from new shows necessarily. And the new shows do bump them off. Obviously The Witcher bumped them off. So anyways, it's just interesting to see this relationship Harry and Meghan are having with the media, and these complexities are going on that they don't really have control over. But at the same time, they should have seen them coming. They should have been aware of the what was going on within the industry, that it was oversaturating with streaming, and that there was going to be a blowback from that as soon as people had to go back to work and people couldn't sit at home streaming all the time. that the bubble burst and basically everybody's losing money on streaming for the most part. And so there would be a natural correction within the industry. And Harry and Meghan or their partners or whoever were not smart enough to recognize that. So it's just a little crazy what has gone on there. So yeah, I hope that made sense. Miss Pippa must be needed some loving this morning to make Mama late for the show. Yes, I wish. Well, she did get. Did I give her breakfast? I might have not given her breakfast. She got part of my breakfast, but it's because I had eggs. But yes, the whole the whole internet thing was weird. Anne said, forgive me for saying so, Brittany, but when people get up early and watch. Yes, I know. I'm so sorry. It was literally a weird thing with the internet. I didn't even think it was wrong when I got up this morning. Just saw a video of Catherine came up with Recollections May Vary, and the Queen used it because she liked it. The Prince of Wales is awesome. Yes. And I will say definitely that Catherine did not write it, but she is the one who insisted it was in the final draft. She wanted to make sure, again, there was that nugget of something to people saying that the royal family did not agree with what Harry and Meghan were selling, that they did not agree with it. And that's really important, I think. Good afternoon from the Netherlands. Good afternoon. Yeah, so Melissa says one of the courtiers came up with the Recollections May Vary. Most wanted it taken out. Catherine convinced them to leave it, and the late Queen approved the final draft with it in there. Yes, so much. That is huge. The super. So I don't know. Blue Moon asks Brittany, do you think the super injunction is set to be lifted or expired? I'm not sure which super junction that is. So if it comes to other things, I'm not really sure. If it comes to Harry and his trial, obviously the court case, he's asking for money. Surprise, surprise. It really is all about money. He's not here to save us. He's there to get his paycheck. And I think he might find that doesn't go well. So yeah, we shall see. So Diane said, read something about this pic just before they walked out. Meghan said to Kate, let's walk out arm in arm together. Kate said, no, I'm not doing that. Walked out ahead, hence the look on Meg's face. Yes. And again, that's not what they shouldn't walk out arm in arm. That would be weird. Now, granted, queens who have a good relationship, like Queen Matilda and Queen Maxima, they were quite chummy at the recent state of visit, but they are just friends. They are genuinely friends. Harry and Meghan, that's not. Catherine and Meghan never had that relationship. And for Meghan to basically push that on Catherine, again, I will say it was Mary, who is the daughter of Wendy, who's one of my big watchers and followers here on YouTube. Mary came on my England trip. Wendy did not, but Wendy made the astute observation that Meghan throughout her whole time as a royal was really trying to throw Catherine off her game. And in Harry's book, when he says that Meghan asked Catherine for her lip gloss right before they went on, it's actually a tactic actresses use in the audition room to throw another actress off her game right before she reads for the role. And that just sounds so much like what Meghan would do. And I imagine people in Hollywood who read that went, oh, we know exactly what Meghan was doing there. And I'm sure some people were like, how dare she do that to the Princess of Wales? A woman who has no clue why she's doing that. I mean, another woman who is in Hollywood would know what Meghan is trying to pull. Catherine didn't know. Catherine was like, wait, what? And it was just unnecessary. And I think if you were in Hollywood and you knew what she was doing, that probably really offended you. So yeah, that was probably another attempt, again, to throw Catherine off her game, and also a way for Meghan to push and see what she could get away with. MJ Clark, hi, Brittany and Pippa from New Jersey. Pippa says hello. She is technically now in her little bed, enjoying listening to me chat to myself. Azuma says, could Harry win his lawsuits on a technicality? I do not know the technicalities of the British legal system. I don't know, to be honest. So Meghan technically did on the Daily Mail case. She won technically on a technicality, but I'm not sure with Harry's case. And you got to think as well, when it comes to the case. This could be thrown out because it's old eventually, because it's really pushing the statutes of limitations. I think although it might be more civil, they obviously didn't get Piers Morgan to testify, which apparently was key to their case. It's like, well, why would you make it key to your case for him to testify and incriminate himself? Like, that's just dumb. I just think the whole thing is just a ridiculous mess. I don't think it helps Harry at all. And I think Harry will end up paying other people's legal bills in addition to his own at some point. And it would be funny too if they're like, yeah, you won. Here's 250, let's say, £1,000 from the Sun or whatever. And guess what? But he doesn't get his legal fees covered. So what does that mean? Basically, he just was a net zero. He didn't really win anything from that case because its lawyers are probably charging him up the wazoo for all this. Because I think the only people winning in this are Harry's lawyers. And obviously the Sun's lawyers as well. My Maltese Aussie says hello to Miss Pippa. She says hello back. She enjoys a bed I recently got her that's big and pink and fluffy. She loves that. Okay. Debbie6219, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. I do appreciate it. Oh, Crash Hard or Hard, thank you. Malcolm the cat says hi to Pippa. I think Prince Charles or Princess Catherine has stepped up her game. What do you think? I don't know if she's necessarily stepped up her game in that she's always been that more steely, like unmoving figure within all the chaos of the monarchy. She's like the rock that doesn't move with the waves, if you know what I mean, like a rock that outcrops from the water or whatever, and the waves and everything move around it, but it's just there. It doesn't move because it is solid. And I think Catherine is very much that. And you got to think, she has been in this game now for 20 years. Now, I know some people get, I think, frustrated when I call it a game, but it is very much, even though there's your life isn't on the line in the same way it was in the medieval times. This is very much a game of favorites. This is a game of jockeying for positions and roles. And you need to have a good relationship with the monarch, the future monarch, the other future monarch. Like, there's so many relationships you have to balance, like Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh. She's done a great job at that. She became one of the Queen's favorites. And she did that, I think, by having a genuine relationship, but also recognizing that it serves her no purpose to be an antagonist when she could be a team player. And when you have that mentality in a royal sphere, guess what? Who wore more tiaras than anybody else in the royal family in the last 20 years? Why, it's Sophie, because she went up to all the foreign royal events where they had tiaras. She just did a ton of things where tiaras were involved that the other family members didn't get to do. So she had, 3 at least tiaras she could wear, 3 or 4. One was her wedding, which she didn't wear often. She had 2 aquamarines and maybe one other one. And so she's had a ton of opportunities. And she has that because she's a team player. The Queen appreciated her and she made her relationship with the Queen essential. And that's how you have to do it. And I know that sounds weird and perhaps somewhat archaic and stuff, but that is what's going on. And if you read Valentine Lowe's book, he does cover some of that as well. And I think, again, Catherine is savvy here. You survive in the royal family by being smart, by being also not somebody who's super reactive, but reactive in a subtle way. And that is a skill set Meghan does not have, has never had. And that's why part of the reason why she crashed and burned so hard and continues to do so is that she lacks that tact, that intelligence, both emotional and just logical, that you need to really be a good player within the royal sphere. And Meghan Markle does not have that. Nancy, thank you so much for the super sticker as well. You are so kind. And then we have Vicky as well. Thank you, guys. It really means a lot. I appreciate it. Okay, so we keep going down here. Rosemary, good morning, Brittany and friends. Yes, I hope we all see each other as friends here. Oh, Jackie, all the best to your sister's wedding. Regards to Debbie, your dad and sister. Wishing your family an awesome day next Saturday. Thank you, Jackie. It's so good to hear from you again. Jackie went on my trip to London, and so we had all a fantastic, fantastic time. Oh, Kathy says, good morning from Wisconsin. I so look forward to your knowledgeable videos. Thank you. I do appreciate it. I try to make them knowledgeable and interesting Tyra says, I would love your content. I would love to meet you someday. Yes, we still have a couple spots left on the Germany, Austria trip. I'm thinking about trying to get maybe something here in the States, because I know that's not everybody's able to travel. So we'll see, because one of the first places I kind of looked into, like the price to rent a room for a day was like outrageous. Like, yeah, I don't think it's worth that much. So we'll see. We'll figure something out. I have an idea, though. I have an idea. DP says, Brittany, what is your best estimate about how much Harry and Meghan have made since coming to the U.S.? Hard to believe they are pressed for cash. I would say yes and no. So we know Harry came over with about 30 million in trusts and stuff, but I don't think he could just go and drain those accounts. I don't think so. So looking at his future, let's say. So his books did well. I don't know if we know how much the book deal is worth, but let's say he made $10 million from it. But they also purchased, don't forget, a $15 million house. And they have security, 24-hour security all the day, all the time, which probably costs, I would imagine, a couple $1 million a year. And then you have the upkeep of the house, which also probably costs a couple $1 million a year. And Harry was apparently trying to fix things himself because things were breaking. And they've had private jet flights, and they've had obviously all of Meghan's clothing that she wants. And I'm sure all their furnishings are high end. So let's say they made $10 million from the book deal at most. And I still say it's closer to the $2 to $5 million range. At most, maybe they made $10 million from Spotify. So you're looking at about 20. And then from Netflix, I would say some people say they've gotten half of the money. I would doubt that, because I would imagine Netflix wanted more than one show to cost them $50 million, especially documentaries, which should not be costly to produce. So I'd say at most, let's say 25. So $45 million that they've made, maybe. But again, $15 million house, lots of private jet flights, costs of all their upkeep, their staff and everything. So have they made a lot of money? Yes. But have they had a lot of money go out? Yes, I think so too. So I think they're in this thing where I think they've overextended themselves. I always thought that their house in Los Angeles or Montecito was way too much. I'm like, you guys don't need that much a house. He had $30 million going in, and there's no guarantee again that they will get, because some of the money that they've gotten from Spotify, Netflix and everything have been wrapped up in production costs. Because I want to bet whatever that $10 million is, part of it included building Meghan a podcast studio that she did not use. And she may use it now in the future, but that's still some of the money that she didn't get in cash from Netflix because, yeah. So anyways, I think not only do they have money, but a decent amount coming in, but they've drained a lot of the money too. And I think especially when it comes to especially when it comes to them thinking of themselves as their security, I think is excessive. I don't think they need that much security. I think a lot of times their security issues somebody breached the fence. It's well, that happened to Sandra Bullock too. What makes you guys so special? There's just nothing. They painted themselves as these victims, and that, bad things might happen. And not that they might not, but again, you guys are no longer heads of state. Then they weren't anyways, but you no longer represent a government. You guys are free-range entities, and you should treat your lives as such. Not that you are still the son of a king, but you're the irrelevant son of the king. Everybody knows you're irrelevant. And generally, if you're looking to go after somebody as high profile as a king, you don't really go after his second son. You just don't. Just saying. Disfan 9212, thank you so much for the tip. Princess Catherine is like the queen mom. Great to see the queen agreeing on recollections may vary as part of the statement. Yes, I think it was incredibly wise to include that in there. Not only am I wearing my recollections may vary shirt, I mean, it's become an iconic little turn of phrase, and it really did encapsulate and sow a seed. It didn't say explicitly, well, everything Harry and Meghan said were wrong. Here's this point by point by point. Because I think William was more on that end. And a lot of other people are saying, well, let's be vague. Let's be vague. And yes, vagueness there served them well. But I think also recollections may vary. Let people know that we have our record too, and it does not match theirs. And because of that, you can't take them as seriously as you would. So I think that was incredibly, incredibly intuitive and incredibly smart. So bravo to Catherine for identifying that. All right, we have Snowflow. Thank you so much for the tip. Why does Prince Andrew offer Frogmore Cottage to Eugenie? I thought he turned down King Charles's offer. So Andrew doesn't want to move from Royal Lodge because he doesn't want to downgrade and just an arrogant, entitled dude. Let's be honest. So he is definitely very much wanting the status that Royal Lodge gives him. It's where the Queen Mother lived as well for many, many years. So I understand to a certain extent why he doesn't want to leave, but also at the same time, he is an empty nester. He doesn't have, his girls don't live there. They have their own homes, and Fergie, I think, still lives there technically. Hearts go out to Fergie with her recent cancer diagnosis. But yeah, Charles is like, well, what is going on here? And so I understand him wanting Andrew to leave. I think it makes sense. And Frogmore Cottage wouldn't be a bad place, but Andrew, I don't think probably wants the association with Harry and Meghan, and it's not really, he cannot give Frogmore Cottage to Princess Eugenie. That is something now, because Charles controls it, Charles will determine who gets that home, if anyone. And Evelyn, thank you so much for the super sticker as well. You are so kind. I don't know what that little symbol means. That's so cool, though. It's so awesome. And then Kate, thank you so much for the super sticker too. That's so awesome. So Noble says, Britt, are you excited for the Scotch coronation ceremony? I saw they made a new sword. Yes, I am excited for it. I think that'll be awesome. I wish I could go. I was kind of wish I was there in Europe this week, because I'd like to go not only there, but the King and Queen of the Netherlands. They had a recent photo call, and I'm like, it'd just be so fun to be there and ask a question in English, because all the answers to the questions are in Dutch, and I don't know Dutch. I know some of you do, but I don't know. And so it would just be fun, because I think one of the challenges for people kind of getting into the other royals is the fact that they don't speak English. I mean, a lot of them do, but their interviews aren't done in English for the vast majority. And so you have to rely on, Google Translate or something like that. So I thought that would be fun. Mon P says, Harry going to Africa and Netflix documentary. Yeah, that's apparently what he's planning. But again, to what end? What is the purpose of something? You have to have a purpose. What are you trying to do? And it's like, well, are you just trying to create content because you need to create content? Well, it has to have something bigger to say than just, well, I need content, so we're going to create content. That just generally doesn't go very well. And so it'll just be interesting to see. And it's wonderful that he wants to do that, maybe to show us more about Africa or something. But at the same time, it's like, why? We have heard before that they wanted to do something with like South Africa and like mothers or something. I don't know. So it's just weird. Trina says, hi Trina, happy Canada Day. Here's just on another channel how much the Duke of Edinburgh is working. Great to see other royals highlighted. Yes, it is great to see other royals highlighted. I think that's so good, and it's so good to see them out and about. And I know they've had a bit of a downturn in terms of the number of royal engagements done. So I still think Charles's plan for a slim down monarchy is maybe could use some finessing and use some additional members. Beatrice, and that would be good. Okay. I have a little puppy being squirmy in my lap. Okay. So Asma asks, is Catherine the Princess of Wales doing any state visits or tours? We haven't heard anything about Catherine and William doing a tour. I think they obviously got a little skittish after the Caribbean tour, but I think that was mostly like Omid Scobie and some other people riling up tensions and stuff. That stuff should have just been ignored. In my opinion, just ignore it, because that was just ridiculous. It was silly. Like, there was a fence around the stadium and they shook people's hands through the fence, and you're making it this whole issue. And I'm like, it wasn't an issue. There was a fence. What do you expect them to do? Tear down the fence that people use to make sure the ball doesn't go into the street? Like, that's just dumb. So I just felt like that was just, oh gosh, that was just Omid Scobie just being obnoxious. So blessings, Heavenly Brittany Rockway, thank you. Lizzie B says, Ms. Brittany, it's a shekel sign. Money currency used in Israel. Oh, thank you so much for the tip, Lizzie. And thank you so much for letting me know. Thank you, Evelyn. That's so cool. I had a place I worked. They had somebody had left a couple of Israeli coins in a desk, and I was so excited because I love coins from all over the world. So I was like, oh, this is so cool. I don't know what they were, but they were cool. Chelsea says, instead of Emily in Paris, they're going to do Emilio and Compton. Yeah, that's about right. Asma says Harry doesn't have a creative bone in his body. Remember, he cheated to pass art. Yes, he did. That's pretty much been confirmed. So yeah. So it's, People Kind says, will Harry come back to the royal family if they divorce? Yes, I think they will. I think he will. I think that's why they haven't been as hard as they should have been. Now, I think, again, they should pull the titles. I think they should pull the titles for the kids because I think it's just silly for them to be in California and not having any connection to the royal family, calling themselves a prince and princess. I think that's dumb. I think it's pointless. I think those titles are hollow because they don't mean anything because of their parents. But at the same time, yes, I understand that Charles is like, at some point, he will come groveling back home after this thing crashes and burns in an epic way. And I understand him wanting to protect his son's mental health by giving him an out. So, yeah. As I said, couldn't the people in Emily in Paris do this? Yes. So if you wanted a man version of Emily in Paris, you would ask the Emily in Paris producers. You would not ask Harry and Meghan, or I wouldn't want to pitch for them. CC says Harry and Meghan are just not content creators. Why they think they can do this is beyond me. They need to team up with talented showrunners, producers, writers, but then who could work with them? Yes, because you have the additional problem of Meghan not being able to give up control. She's a bit of a control freak. Kind of an interesting comparison, which may also really hurt Harry and Meghan right now, is the story of Kathleen Kennedy at Lucasfilm. Basically, she's wrecked that studio. All of their IPs are in the toilet, and that includes Star Wars and a lot. I've heard a lot. It'll depend, but most people think Indiana Jones will probably lose hundreds of millions of dollars because they overspent on it, and it's the worst reviewed film, and the projections so far aren't doing well. And I've heard it's pretty bad in some places and nonsensical. And she was somebody who was with George Lucas and Spielberg on some of their biggest movies, including Indiana Jones, the original ones way back in the day. She was teamed up with them a lot, and she was given creative control over Lucasfilms. Well, as it turns out, she's really not a creative. Maybe she's good at some business aspects of producing, but she's really not a creative. And she's put herself in this role to make these films, and they've flopped. They flopped hard because between the first Star Wars film she was part of, in terms of control in Lucasfilm, which was The Force Awakens, and then The Rise of Skywalker, the box office returns for that movie dropped by $1 million. The first one had 2 million. The third one had 1. So you're talking about 50% audience drop off. And that includes me. I watched the first and second one, couldn't even stand to watch the third one. I'm not a huge fan, but I do enjoy those movies because, again, like, it's an eternal story because George Lucas, the original ones, went after the Joseph Campbell thing. Anyways, so Harry and Meghan, I think, had the additional, like, the Hollywood's looking at that going, she's lost basically Lucasfilm so much money, Disney so much money, and basically the capital they purchased the Lucasfilm is not even worth as much because of the failures of a lot of these films and projects. Because they did a TV series as well, which they've totally pulled from Disney Plus after 6 months because it did so poorly. It was more expensive to keep it on than it was to take it off and have a tax write-off. All that to say is that Harry and Meghan are in much the same boat, is that they're not creatives, really. They're not content producers. And so if, let's say, they are good at producing in terms of the business side of it, that means they have to hire a whole slew of other people to be the creative side. So that decreases, once again, their payout. And so that is a huge, huge, massive problem for them. Because if you can't create content, if you have to farm out, Meghan's podcast had something like what people said, like 28, 29 staffers involved in a simple podcast. Like, this thing was not, it was overly produced, of course, but wasn't like technically complicated. Then you are just decreasing incredibly all of the costs or all of the profit that you can make from it. So I think Harry and Meghan are up a creek right now because they're going to lose just a ton of money. Leslie Bigos for future travels. Why, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much for the tip. I got a lot of travel coming up in September, guys. Obviously, I have the trip with some of you to Germany and Austria, which will be great. And then I'll be heading over to Sweden for the Golden Jubilee. Then I will be going over to the Netherlands for Prinsdag's Day. I'm not pronouncing it right. So it's the opening of Parliament where the King and Queen are going to be there, in addition to probably Princess Amalia and Princess Alexia. It'll be Alexia's first appearance. Amalia made her first appearance last year. So that'll be super exciting. And then over to the UK to see the coronation robes, do the Tower visit at Windsor Castle. And then I want to go to Hever Castle as well, which is where Anne Boleyn was raised, because I just want to, they have a couple of cool exhibits going on there right now. And then over, maybe, not sure anymore, I wanted to go over to France. I wanted to get some coverage of particularly the tiaras that they hold in the Louvre. I've really always wanted to go down there and see them because I've been to the Louvre a couple times and just never seen them. And I want to get pictures of that for future content and get other things for future content. But with all the chaos going on in France right now, I'm not so sure. So we will see. Of course, always smart. I got refundable tickets and everything. So if I need to change things up due to security reasons, that won't be too bad. But I'm honestly really hoping to go. It's been a long time since I've been to France, so I really wanted to go back to not only the Louvre but Versailles as well, and hopefully get some great content for future videos, especially the more royal history channel that I like to go. So yeah, PNEWC asks, what's going on in France? So there's a lot of huge riots going on in France right now. I've heard the library in Marseille was being burned, and that had some ancient manuscripts in it. So I hope that's not entirely true, or that they had moved them, or that they're in a secure part of the facility. But there's just a lot of violence going on right now. I've seen a lot of guns and stuff, which I didn't think were that much of an issue in France. And so it's just been very, very chaotic and violent. So very, very scary there at the moment. Nikki says, hello from Newfoundland. I heard Omid Scobie's book will primarily be attack on Princess Catherine. So Harry and Meghan say they won't say anything else about the royals, but they're getting their lapdog to do it. Yes. And there was like even this bit on television, which I posted on Twitter, where they started calling him like Scooby-Doo. This was in the UK, and they're like literally laughing at him. He is such a joke that it's really, really pathetic. And that he's going to attack the royals, I think, through this. I mean, it's such a, like, he has no contacts in the royal family anymore except for Harry and Meghan. This guy doesn't get invited to royal events. As far as I'm aware, he was not at the coronation. I didn't see any pictures of him at the coronation. And he's tried to play it off as if he's just working on his book. No, I think the truth is he's not invited anymore. I haven't seen any post from him on Yahoo, so I don't know if he's still there. His little diatribes, he had these videos like highly produced talking about the truth and the falsehoods in the crown, which like got no views when it debuted in November. Like my stuff far outpaced his when it came to this. And so it was just like, I don't know who would read his book and expect things, but yeah. Jane says it's obvious neither of them have read Great Expectations. They have no clue about the character, personality, or backstory regarding Miss Havisham. Yes, so they are apparently going to make her in their series a strong woman who's fighting against the patriarchy. It's like, well, I feel like that's been done a gazillion times. It is a dull, tired narrative. Like, give me something new and interesting. They obviously have another one from the BBC, and honestly, it just sounds dull. And I haven't read Great Expectations, and I really, really doubt Harry and Meghan, especially Harry, have ever read that. Harajuku says, hello from Singapore. I really love your dedication to researching royal families. Thank you. And I just this week, now no confirmed yet, but I did just make my reservations for Singapore for Catherine's and William's Earthshot Prize. So we will see if I'm able to do that or not, because it is pricey to get over there. It is not cheap at all. And it's long flights. I think the length I was looking at was like 26 to 28 hours, which is a long time. But I think that would be awesome to go there as well. I've never been to Singapore. So I think that would be cool. Question, do you think Scobie's book will deliver another blow to the RF, or are people just over it now? I think everybody is over it in terms of they think he's a joke. All even the press people think he's a joke. Like, he is a joke. So I don't think anybody can. Anya D says, thank you so much for the tip. Is Harry still brand ambassador for that coaching company? Is he still making some cash from that? Yeah. So he was part of Better Up, and I just don't know if he's still there or not. I think he is, but is that company really making money? So here's the thing. It was a startup that I think it had an idea that people fused cash into, but I don't think it's actually making any money. It's personally, I think it's kind of a dumb concept. I don't think it has broad appeal, especially for like the billions people are pumping into it. And again, that's just my opinion. I'm not a big business expert. If you want to invest in whatever company you want to, that's totally fine. But I just wasn't really all that impressed with what they were offering and what they were doing. Missy says Meghan does not have a brilliant creative mind like Anne Rice, J.K. Rowling, Ruth Ware, J. Smith, or Charlene Harris. No, she does not. She had even no creative like contributions to Suits, really, except for I want to keep my clothes on more. That was like her sole creative contribution. And other actors, especially those who really love the craft and are interested, really do come up with other things. They want to try their hand at script writing, directing. We've seen a lot of that. So Tara S says, hi there, coming in late to you, alas. Here in the UK, we despise Meghan and her efforts to meet Diana. I wonder if Harry calls her mummy. I don't know if he does, but I think it's funny because I didn't meet anybody who liked Meghan when I was in the UK for the coronation. Nobody liked Meghan. It was kind of funny. American Woman says, you definitely don't get muscles like that from doing yoga. Catherine is definitely lifting weights. Yes, absolutely. And I think she plays a lot, which helps too. Because there was for our London trip, we actually did some archery, which is pretty fun. And the guy who was running it, he had like some weird muscle in his forearm. He would not even tense it or whatever. And he pressed on it. It was like solid, like it just did not move. And so you do develop, I think she does play a lot of tennis. And so I think she does develop some muscles from that. But yeah, she does heavy weightlifting. Okay, somebody is fussy today. I think it's because part of the power cord is in her bed, and that's just not going to work for her. Enid says, she's Catherine, Princess of Wales, not Kate Middleton. Can you please get it correct? I do call her Catherine, the Princess of Wales in the videos, but actually for titles, Kate Middleton does better. Sorry to say, but it does. So that's why other companies, other news outlets do Kate Middleton. It just is what people Google. It is what is in the search algorithms, something called SEO, which is search engine optimization. And so that tends to do better than saying Catherine, the Princess of Wales. It's also longer. You have 100 character limit in terms of titles on YouTube. And so because of that, you go with whatever is easier. And honestly, Kate Middleton's easier than Catherine, the Princess of Wales, which is much longer, or Princess Catherine, which again is starting to pick up a bit. But the challenge is, we know it, but the search engines don't. And so because the search engines don't, people aren't searching for Princess Catherine as much as they're still searching for Kate Middleton. That's just reality there. Tom says, hi, Brittany. So proud of you, girl. Wish you all success in life. You are an inspiration. Oh, my, thank you. Thank you so much for the tip. You are so kind. I don't know if I live up to everything, but I try. I was super excited. I got signed up for my classes next semester. I'm not super excited about one of the classes I'm taking, but I'm also taking an early British history class, and I'm very excited about that. So that'll be a lot of fun. Phyllis says, wearing heels all the time helps keeping the legs so toned. That's probably true. I should try that because I need to tone up my legs. Sharon says, who says they are number 2 on Netflix? I tried checking the numbers and could not find that. So usually they'll say what's the top in terms of viewing on Netflix. And currently right now, Suits was number 3 yesterday. So yeah. So Deborah says, in the industry, are the writers striking? Yes. And there's been talk that maybe the actors will strike as well. So if the writers and actors strike, we are definitely Nothing's coming out of Hollywood. The bad thing for Hollywood is the writers are on strike right now and nobody seems to care. And that's really bad news for them. That's really bad news for them. You have the hairstyle that Amber Heard had sometime. How do you keep it on one side? Well, today is just a little bit messy, so that's kind of why I did. Well, one side looks better than the other. So yeah, and I don't really. You can like hairspray and stuff there, but I'm not doing anything that technical or complicated. Angie says if something happens and they get divorced, Harry and Meghan can give custody to Charles or step in and not give the babies back to Meghan. No, Charles would never interfere like that. It would not play well for him to do something like that. So he would never, I think, go in there and go, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take those kids. I'm going to exert my guardianship over them. Charles would never do that. It just would play so unbelievably badly. So no. Kids Relevant. Oh, thank you. Congratulations on your Real News Network channel success. Thank you. I do appreciate it. It's been such a surprise, really, because I just thought, I'll just try this and see what happens. And it's done much better than I ever thought it could too. So it's been super exciting and awesome. Spotify should have known they had no experience and was foolish paying them such a large sum of money. Yes, it was. And the woman who signed them has been fired, I think, because of that. She was part of the layoffs and she overinvested in podcasts. I think Joe Rogan's was probably worth it, but Harry and Meghan definitely no. They were an unknown entity. They were a completely unknown entity. They had no clue about if they could produce things, anything like that. And so, yeah, I think that was a huge mistake. Stacey, the below average turtle, says divorce for Meghan is two-edged sword. If she leaves him when William becomes king, he'll remove all titles from her. Without the titles, she can run for office. That's true. I think Meghan, though, would crash and burn in an election because people would be, I mean, she's unliked anyways, and you can be so ruthless with her. So let's go. Tara says the lip gloss thing was a mere tactic and Kate is just good. Don't forget this was during COVID and lip gloss was not shared too intimate. It was right before COVID, but it's still gross. It's still gross. I would be really, even a family member, I'd be like, really? Do you have to? Really? Joanna says, I believe the media companies knew the duo had no talent and no lasting power, but signed them anyways to make a buck while the public was still interested in them. That is somewhat true. They were also thinking that, hey, maybe Harry and Meghan will have we want the royal family dirt and they can definitely give it to us. So Diana says, and this was from a comment a while ago about the lip gloss thing. Actresses use the lip gloss trick. I don't understand. So the thought is that when there's two actresses in a room and they're waiting to go into their audition, one of them will look to the other one and go, hey, can I borrow your lip gloss? Like, right. Or they know one of them is going first. So the second one goes, hey, can I borrow your lip gloss? And the first one pauses, has to think, and it's thrown probably a little off her game because she's wondering, why is she asking for my lip gloss? Should I give her my lip gloss? I don't really know this person. Why is she asking for lip gloss? And so it's just a way to throw somebody off their game by making them overly think something. Because that's what it would do to me. Because somebody would ask for my lip gloss and be like, what? Why do you need my lip gloss? That's just weird. And so it's just a way to throw it off. So it's it was a tactic. So because they wanted them to do bad in their audition was the idea. Deborah says, Meghan got Piers fired. Why would they do anything for them? Yeah, exactly. Why would he do anything for them? They literally got him fired. Makes no sense. But yeah. Yeah. So let's see. Julie says, I think you are correct. The press relationships are indeed a game. Yes, you have to play it well, play it long-term, and you have to play it smart. You have to play with not having huge reactions, which I'm sure is really hard for the royals in a lot of ways. Like you can't have a huge reaction to something. So yeah. Cece says, I find Catherine authentic. She is now comfortable in her own skin. She's a mom of 3, has a successful marriage, and a lot of life experiences that she naturally uses to connect with people. Yeah, I think that's true. JC says, did you see Sophie and Catherine at Ascot? They seem to get along so well. Yeah, they do. I think they are the closest friends. And I think Catherine sees probably Sophie more as a sister-in-law than a an aunt-in-law or whatever, even though she's technically William's aunt, because they're close-ish in age. I mean, they're separated by like 15 to 20 years, so they're not super, super close, but they are closer than, let's say, Camilla and Catherine in terms of age. Because you got to think, too, the Queen had Andrew and Edward about 10 years plus after she had Charles and Anne. And because of that, there's a big age difference. And so Sophie's a little bit younger than Edward, and I think he may be 59. And so Catherine, I'm sure, has spent a lot of time with Sophie. Their kids are not close in age, but closer in age, because Lady Louise was what, like 10 or something, 10, 11 when Catherine and William got married. James was a couple years younger. And so Catherine really, I think, are pretty close to Sophie and Edward. I think more Catherine and Sophie are close rather than William and Edward. Second week in a row, you didn't thank me for my tip. I live on disability and it's not easy. Well, thank you. Thank you. I think I did. It's not that I try to go through everyone because now it's a lot easier because they do let us know when they come through. So yeah, said Malcolm the cat says hi. So thank you so much. Claire, didn't Harry say that proceeds from his book were going to charity? Yes. And so, but you can suss out maybe it's going to the Archwell charity, which doesn't seem to do much charity. Okay. So we have those two questions. All right. And Jill says the Biltmore would be awesome. Of course. Thank you. Yeah, that was where I was thinking. It was what the rate they wanted for a room, though, was a little ridiculous. Do they pay income taxes on earnings? Yes, they would have to. Oh, did I miss something down here? Okay. And so we have Jotters. Thank you so much for the tip. The Sugars will read Scrappy Doo's book for sure, as well as certain sections of the media for research purposes and the drama. I always believe that Catherine was the boss princess as she learned from the best. Long live Her Majesty the Queen. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for the tip. 100% correct. Yes. So Catherine entirely is the boss princess. I think she is a very powerful influence behind the scenes. And she has done, I think, wonders for the relationship between William and Charles and William and Camilla. And so I think she's done really great there. And yeah, and the stands will read Omid Scobie's book and make crazy accusations. And I'm sure he'll make some crazy accusations. But the guy has been like incorrect on national TV now a couple of times. Now, granted, on TV, sometimes it's hard. You have brain blips or whatever. But he said, I think Archie was turning 5 when he was turning 4. And it's like, wouldn't you think they're just celebrating their 5th wedding anniversary? And you are their stan. You literally wrote their book. And so how can you not know that Archie is going to be 4? You literally wrote the book on their marriage and everything and their relationship. Gail says, do you think at some point Harry will realize it was Meghan doing the leaking and planting? I hope he is going to realize it at some point because I think a lot of it has been her. All right. So MSR says, what is the deal with Marcus Anderson? Why is he everywhere Meghan is? Well, I mean, there's so many rumors that he's kind of not her fixer, but kind of her. I keep thinking Yoda, but that's not the right word. But he's the one who's helped her go run in these certain circles. And so it's just been absolutely weird. And he's like, one of her good friends. But Meghan's friends are all users. I feel like they all use each other. Meghan uses them. They use her. So it's kind of one of those things. So Christine says, do they really live in the Olive Garden mansion? I heard it's a rental property. I mean, as far as I know, because we do know a lot about celebrities who purchased homes and stuff. I think they did purchase it. Those records are oftentimes public of who purchases what. So I think they did purchase the home. Do they rent it out now? They definitely could. Do they want people to think they live more extravagantly than they do? Yes, because they had... Again, they spent money, production budget, their own proceeds from Netflix on filming their interviews in a mega mansion that was not their own. Why? I have no idea. Why couldn't you film in your own house? You've done it before. It's just weird. So. Okay. Jill says, Recollections may very immediately became an iconic phrase, the very essence of who the queen was. All right. Sorry. I have a puppy in my lap who's kind of falling off my lap, so I'm balancing her behind. So Berkshire Lady says, also, how often has she spent on clothes, jewelry, cosmetic, hair, Botox since they left the BRF? They must have dipped into their capital big time. I think so. I think they've dipped into it a lot. I think they've run out quite a bit. Eleanor Aquitaine, loving the live stream. Thank you. I love your handle too. I did a paper on Eleanor, and I did think that was a lot of fun. And so, because she is really quite an interesting woman for her time. Christine says, is Beatrice going to be loyal to William though? Yes, I think so. And because she knows, like, you have to be aware that your father can't be a working royal anymore. You can't be that dumb to think, well, he didn't do anything. Like, I think in the heart of hearts, they know. And so they're like, yeah, we can't focus on him we can't rely on him. And because of that, I think Beatrice would be a good working royal. And again, it's like, it's a cool job. So you want to make sure your bread is buttered. So you're not going to go, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw my a cousin under the bus. Like, do I think Beatrice and William are particularly close? No. Do I think they would work well together if they were working royals? Probably. I think William does like Edo better than he liked Dave. He did not like Dave Clark at all, her former boyfriend for like 10 years, who dumped her and then immediately married somebody else. Lynn says, what do you think of Scooby-Doo's upcoming book? I think it's a joke, and I think everybody knows it's a joke. So, yeah. Heard rumors of Meghan's memoir. Any truth to that? I think it's entirely possible. Again, they have to throw some sort of Hail Mary. They don't have anything else to sell, especially Meghan, so she's going to sell off the RF. Okay. Katie says, oh, thank you so much. Congratulations to your sister. Have a wonderful time at the wedding. Thank you for bringing us such great entertainment on a regular basis, especially these live chats. Look forward to the next. Thank you. I'm really excited for the next one, especially if I can get my whole office set up together. I'm super, super excited about that. I think it'll be awesome. I'm hoping to get maybe my camera set up better and everything. So I am super stoked about it. It's going to be awesome. Heaven on Earth says, do you think Harry and Meghan still have a relationship with Oprah? Yes, because Oprah, I think, wants something from them, and they want something from Oprah. So they keep those lines of communication open. So Kari North says, as for all the money they were going to get from Spotify, Netflix, I guess they have to pay for everyone who worked on the production or at Spotify and Netflix are paying. So yeah, the money that they would get would cover some of their production costs. So even that 45 million or so, maybe 50 million I mentioned, some of that is just going to be eaten up simply in production costs. So they could even get just half of that. And don't forget, they got to pay taxes on it. So they may have a lot less. Mary says, with all the trouble they have caused, why not take the titles and give him the Duke of Windsor? It requires government intervention, so that's the complication. And honestly, right now, there are bigger things to fry than Harry and Meghan and their titles. But I think Charles, if the royal family, if it really came to push, if push came to shove, I think the royal family should not step in the way. But I also wouldn't be surprised either if Meghan does not get a single royal title upon her divorce. RV says, have you considered that King Charles III has asked Beatrice and usually to join the firm, but they have declined? That's entirely possible, but I don't think, especially in the case of Beatrice, I think she would love to be part of the firm. So I don't think so. Alyssa says, will Harry now be removed as a counselor of state because he no longer has residence in the UK? Cheers from Canada. Happy Canada Day, everyone. So I think technically because he doesn't have a domicile, he can't be called as a counselor of state. So without that, he is effectively canceled out of that role. But he still wants it. He doesn't give it up. So this is what's annoying, I feel like, about Harry and Meghan with everyone, is that they tell us they don't want to be part of the royal fold, and yet they desperately cling to any aspect of being royalty. So that's kind of... Stacy says, Andrew wouldn't want to be that close to Clarence house or close to his older brother watching him. Probably not. But I think, I mean, the challenge for Andrew right now is he's, in his 60s now, and he lost his career, and he has some money, yes, to fall back on, but the amount of money he needs to keep up Royal Lodge and everything, I think it'll be challenging. So in certain aspects, I feel a little bad for him. Kids Relevant says, make sure your question is all caps so Ms. Brittany can see it. Yes, that does help a lot when I got through. That's been nice too. Knock on wood. No trolls today. That's been fun. Fred says, will you meet in UK RNN folks during your Windsor visit? I might. I've been trying to think of what would be fun to do for like a meetup in different places, because just be kind of fun and super exciting. And because I thought about maybe seeing about Hever Castle, and there's actually a couple rooms you can rent out in like Hampton Court in Tower of London, if anybody's ever interested. American Woman, oh, thank you so much for the super sticker, and happy 4th of July, everyone. No, we don't have to listen to Harry and Meghan because we fought a war 250 years ago to get rid of the royals. Now, not that I don't love the royals, but I just want them to be royal in their country where they have a role, not self-imposed royals here. Oh, just in. Prince William and Prince George are at the big cricket game. Cute. England versus Australia. Go England. Oh, that's so exciting. I didn't know. Yes, because I've been on here. But yeah. Kids Relevant says, can you imagine a contract with that much money? What would you do with it? Oh my gosh, so much. So much. Like, that they squandered all this is just like insanity to me. It's like, how did you mess this up? Like, how did you mess this up? I don't understand. Like, it's like a layup. You can just, like, it's like, to have those resources would be just like incredible. And there's so much I would do with it. There's so much I would do with it. Oh, and so I just looked it up real quick here. Oh, and I may have lost whatever it was. We'll see if I can share screen. I just thought I'd share with you guys a picture of Prince George because he is eating, there you go, a piece of pizza with his dad. That is so cute. I really hope they start bringing little Louis. He hasn't really gone to any of these games, so I just thought that'd be really, really cute. So yeah, isn't that adorable? Oh, they look so cute. So darling. So Sam asked, and I answered this earlier, but maybe you weren't on when I did. So just curious, why do you keep referring to Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Kate Middleton? Is terms of titles for SEO purposes, yes. Kate Middleton does better than Princess Catherine or Princess Catherine or Catherine, the Princess of Wales. The other two are too long. Kate Middleton is generally shorter, and it is just an SEO thing. So that means more people search for Kate Middleton. It's in the system more as Kate Middleton and just the algorithms than it is in Princess Catherine. I think that'll change once she becomes queen. But right now, Kate Middleton, she was that for 10 years before, when the internet was just first starting. So it's in all the systems. People still like Kate Middleton review, what Kate wore. You know, so many things still utilize Kate Middleton. The reason is that it does better. Now, when it comes to print or in your social media things, should you use Catherine, the Princess of Wales? Yes, I do that. When it comes to titles, though, of videos, Kate Middleton does better. It just does. Jules said, I read part of Great Expectations, and now we'll read it again just to laugh at Harry and Meghan's idea, which I'm sure makes no sense to the book's theme. That's what I thought too. It's like classics and stuff, they're written for a specific time and purpose, and usually to send, I would say, an eternal message, a moral message especially, which is something we almost just don't have anymore. So Cheryl says France has protests over the shooting death of a teen. So yes, that's how it started, but I feel like it's become something else now. So but yeah, I think it seems like now it was an excuse for people who wanted to commit violence. Yvonne says, do come over to Singapore. Hope to meet you there. Yes, I'm super excited. I'd love to go. I love traveling. And I was going to try to like fit in like 24 hours in Seoul, but I don't think I'll do it because I went to Seoul, South Korea once, and I was only there a day, and I missed the castle there by like 5 minutes. And it's bugged me ever since. It closed by the time I kind of realized where it was and everything. So I was like, darn. And so I was like, next time I'll find it. Robin says, people like Omid Scobie don't care about things like integrity. They just care about the bottom line, pay for their next cosmetic procedure. Yeah, I really try not to talk about the guy's looks. I really do, but it is hard. And I try not to go there just because it decreases criticisms of it to solely focus on physical appearance. But he's an odd-looking guy. Let's just say that. And well, and you could say I'm an odd-looking person too. So Jane says, how early in British history? I'm not exactly sure because it's more of a seminar type thing, so they don't give specific details yet. So that was kind of, yeah, because there's another class that we have to take, and it's like, well, I think it would dovetail nicely if I did it while trying to produce the podcast idea I have. So I was like, I need to know a little bit more about what the final project in the class needs to be so I can dovetail it nicely with the podcast I want to do. Shivam says, what is the main reason behind Harry and Meghan turning out to be what they are today? Why Harry started speaking? What's his problem? It started. So Harry's always had issues, but I think Meghan has encouraged him to like share too much, and that the more you share, the more people care. Well, actually, the more you share, the more people get ticked off. So I think that was a huge miscalculation from her. But of course, Meghan also too just needles Harry's and twists him up. And when it comes to Meghan, I think she's just a narcissist, maybe a little bit of a sociopath / psychopath in terms of her personality traits. And so she really doesn't care what she does to her husband, sadly, I don't think. Crystal says, does Meghan get royalties from Suits? Yes, she would. Now, some people said, well, if you're watching it, she's getting money, if you're watching it on Netflix. So I was like, well, I think probably it's more of like a lump sum. I don't think they get paid by the hours watched for their show. They just get a residual because it's now on Netflix and that's something additional. So I don't think they're getting, maybe Friends level money. I would doubt they're getting that. Lizzie says, thank you so much for the tip as well. Any comments on President Biden saying God save the Queen? I could say something, but I feel like it would get political. But it doesn't sound good that he maybe forgot that, she passed away. But he seems to forget a lot about general things like where he is and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah. So he's 80 or going to be just about to turn 80. I don't think we should have a president who's 80 in either party. Let's get some young blood in there. That's my thought. Crunchy Dragon says, first, thank you so much for the super sticker. You are so kind. I do appreciate it. I was like thinking of like question or something. I forget, but I was like, oh wait. So yeah, thank you. Eileen says, who watches Netflix anymore? Canceled my subscription. Yeah, there's a lot of decentralization in terms of how people are consuming entertainment anymore. So yeah, it's just not that. Blue Moon says, Brittany, can Meghan use the name Mountbatten Windsor? My understanding is the name is handed down via lineage. Thank you for answering my question. Yes. So no, she cannot. She is not a blood royal, so she cannot use Mountbatten Windsor. She can maybe use Sussex. But yeah, she cannot use Mountbatten Windsor. That is reserved for blood royals only. I know it's a bit archaic, but that is how it is. Natalie says, can you call her HRH Captain with even fewer letters? It's still it's an algorithm search thing. So it just wouldn't hit the radars. It's not what people are searching for, if that makes sense. So that's just kind of, you want, especially if I work long on producing my stuff. And so it's like, I want to make sure people see it. So I want to give it the best chance possible for people to see. Because otherwise I spent hours working on something that not a lot of people are going to see because the search engine doesn't know the term I put in there, which is, I know, weird, but it is what it is. Kimberly says, is the actor strike? Meghan will be down there trying to hook up dinners with them. Probably. So yeah, I don't know. She's still part of the Screen Actors Guild. She may be, she may not be. I'm not sure. Okay, so let's keep going down here. People Kind says, why does it seem like Meghan's always looking for the camera in pictures? Because she usually is looking for the camera in pictures. I mean, she always looks pleased as punch to see a camera, to look at a camera. She just looks so like unbelievably thrilled. And it's like the royal family told her too, which is smart. It's like when you are grinning ear to ear, it looks like you're enjoying it. And she's like, oh, but I don't know. What else am I supposed to do? It's like, well, you're supposed to put your head down and look frustrated because you do look like you're enjoying it. You do. Like, regardless of what you think, you do look like you're enjoying it. Oh, Diane says, love your chats. Miss Pippa looks lovely following her grooming. Why, thank you. I think she's still like, where did all my fur go? But yeah. Julie says, maybe that would explain 10 million. It was Harry's book proceeds contribution. It might have been. And again, that is interesting. Siba says, we'll be reading Scobie's new book. Unless I can finagle a like an editor's copy or something, not an editor's copy, like a preview copy, I will not be buying it. To be honest, I haven't read Spare either. Yeah, I haven't really had the chance to, but I haven't even purchased Finding Freedom. It was even there was a Barnes & Noble and they were moving locations. So everything in the store was 75% off, like all the books. So I went a little book crazy. I got a whole bunch of stuff and I like even random things. I actually ironically enough, got a book on the Titanic, which I thought was super fascinating. It's about like the obsessive search for it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that like so dumb. That was like a week before the disaster. I was like, well, that was fortuitous. But unless I can get a preview copy, I will not be buying the book. Because I haven't even bought Finding Freedom for the same reason. Even though it was 75% off and maybe not that much would go to Omid Scobie, I would go to a used bookstore a lot just to look. There was one close to my house where I live somewhere else, and I would go there all the time just to see if Finding Freedom was there. I'd buy a lot of other books, but I'd always go and see if Finding Freedom was there because it's like, I wanted to buy something used. I didn't want to go directly to Omid Scobie's pocket because I think he's a shill. So I was like, but it was funny though, getting back to the whole Barnes & Noble thing, that there were like 6 or 7 copies of Finding Freedom there. And pretty much all the other books, there was like 1 single copy left. So it was like nobody was buying Finding Freedom, which I thought was really funny. Do you think they may have filmed in other rooms because most of the rooms are empty of furniture? So in regards to Harry and Meghan, no. We know for sure that they did film in that massive house. For what reason? I have no idea. It's just weird. It's just weird. A waste of money, in my opinion. Royal Sus says, do you have an opinion about Kevin Blah and the video starring Meghan Markle? I don't think I've really seen that, so I can't really speak to that. So Deborah says, wasn't Has offered a place at Buckingham Palace and he has to notify when coming? Yes. So there's always places for him and Meghan to stay. They just can't stay somewhere willy-nilly anymore. They just can't go, oh, we're going to Frogmore Cottage. Because I think they filmed in locations. They released pictures they weren't supposed to. And so I think that came to you can't just have free access and reign to a palace property. If you're there, we're going to be watching you. Andrea says, can you recommend a book on British royalty? I've read quite a few, always looking for a new one. The Courtiers book was, of course, really, really good. I thought that was especially interesting of the behind-the-scenes interactions between the royals. I thought that was really, really good. I need to get up on some of my reading on the British royals. So it depends, too, if you're looking for, like, recent or history. There's a ton of history books. I also go to when I'm in the UK and buy some of their British history books. And I've started following more British history authors on my Twitter, which has been fun. So I see a lot of books come up and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. Snowflow says, how did they mess up? They have no work ethic. Yeah, because apparently they've just been incredibly unlucky or perpetually unlucky or something, which is why everything has failed. I was like, no, it's because you guys didn't work. You're lazy, you're incompetent, you are narcissistic. Like, there's so many reasons why this stuff isn't working for you. And it's all down to you. Like, some of it, like you had the best opportunity when you first signed with Spotify and Netflix because everybody was home. All you had to do was produce content and people would consume it because people wanted to consume content. It's not that hard. It's not that hard, but apparently it is. Apparently it is. Pam Down says they should change their name to the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. I want to give you a tip. I cannot find the tip icon. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure either. I haven't actually done it, so I can't really say. So I would, but that's so sweet of you. Thanks to want to. Mon P says, on your way to Singapore, go to Himeji Castle in Japan. I'd love to go there too. I've always loved to go to the Japan. It was just a lot more to make that pit stop. It was like several grand more actually to make that pit stop. So I was like, guess not. I'm super excited though. Lavender says recollection phase was approved when the Queen was alive. Why only 10 that phrase gained limelight? I hope you can enlighten me. Yeah, so it was just so encapsulated. I think why it just started to really develop like this really iconic saying is because it was just so simple, so elegant, and yet so true. Recollections vary. That just basically says, well, we acknowledge that that's what you think happened, but we're also saying here that's not what we think happened. And it's just so brilliant in a PR way. And it's very just classy and tactful, and just really does push against this narrative that Harry and Meghan had, that they are perfect and they are iconic and they are that everything they said was true. And it's like, no, recollections may vary. Oh, Mama Otter, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the tip. When Harry and Meghan have crashed so hard, the pandemic hadn't happened. Your thoughts? As for Great Expectations, a real creative would know that the storyline works better to create a continued story for Stella, Miss Haversham's ward. Oh yeah, that would be true. I could totally see that. Yes and no. In a way, it did put them behind. I think when they initially initiated Mexit, yeah, it really did hurt them. Because I think they would have had a lot of momentum at that moment. And I think they would have been able to really push things in a way they didn't afterwards. So I think in a way, it did hurt them initially, that first year, that they couldn't just hit the ground running. I think really did put them behind. But after that, it's clear that even though the pandemic did, I think, disrupt probably what they were going to do, at the end of the day, what happened was that they just were unable to produce content. They were lazy. They were incompetent. They couldn't get it together. And like, their Christmas special for Spotify, that one episode, I mean, they didn't even do anything for it. Hardly did anything for it. They had their friends record things, send them in. They spliced it together, put little narratives around it, and then they released it. And I was like, that's the laziest thing you could possibly do in that scenario. Like, it really was just an incredibly lazy thing on their part, which I think was a sign of things to come, is that they didn't want to work hard. And I think that in the end of the day is what hurt them. Yes, COVID did send get them behind the 8 ball, but it was their job once things, especially by 2021, things were changing a bit, but it was their responsibility to step things up, and they just never did. So I hope, Mama Otter, I hope you're doing well. So good to hear from you again. She was on our trip to London, which was so fun. Okay, let's go back here. Thanks to Royal Rogue, they'll ever be the Duke and Duchess of Sausages. Yeah, that is rather funny. They are, yeah. Jane says Meghan needs to stop listening to Diana's ghost. That is so good. Yeah. So apparently Meghan talks to Diana's ghost and shares that, we're on the right track. If she is doing that, that is a horrific thing to do to a very broken man. That is a horrific thing to do. But yeah, I can see that. Would William welcome Harry back? That's a great question. I think it's one we'll end on, because I know you guys had things to do. I had things to do today. Would William welcome Harry back? I think he would, but without Meghan. He would never, I don't think, trust Harry ever again without Meghan in the picture. Although I think too, Harry's irreparably damaged his relationship with William in a lot of ways, because William's wondering too, Harry released all this stuff in his book, and William's wondering, so did you always feel that way? Did you always kind of hate me and my family? Did you always hate my wife? I can't see how Harry or William would not think of it. And I think that would be incredibly damaging to their relationship overall. Do I think they'll ever have the relationship they did? No, I don't think they'll ever have a relationship like they did. It is irreparably damaged. Now, will William welcome Harry back? I don't think he'll welcome him back, but will he tolerate him and just go, yeah, you're here. Yeah, I think he would, because I think he's a decent person. But when it comes to fully trusting him again, I don't think he will, which is sad. And Pam Downs, okay, sorry. So we got a tip. Thank you so much. I found it. Love your videos and your enthusiasm and your knowledge. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Well, guys, Miss Pippa and I, who has been so sweetly sleeping on my lap, would like to tell you guys thank you so much for joining us for the Saturday live stream. Again, so sorry. I had some weird technical issues in the beginning, but we are so excited that you guys hung out with us today. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. And Miss Pippa and I see bye. Miss Pippa, do you see him? Do you see him? Oh, so she doesn't know, but she says hi, guys, and looking forward to seeing you guys. Not next week. Again, we will not be having a live stream next week because it'll be my sister's wedding, but the week after, and hopefully new setup. So, guys, thank you again. Looking forward to seeing you guys again so soon. Have a wonderful Saturday and weekend, and a safe and fun 4th of July. Bye. And Canada Day. Okay.